In the skies over wartime Germany in 1944, Allied bomber crews report seeing something impossible: silent, glowing, circular aircraft maneuvering at speeds that defy physics. They called them Foo Fighters. Military intelligence had no explanation, but these were not weather phenomena or Allied escort fighters. They were the alleged first sightings of a weapons program so secret, so advanced, it would spawn one of history's most disturbing technological myths. It would pose a chilling question. What if the Third Reich had actually built a UFO? The story does not begin in a laboratory. It begins in the occult underworld of pre-war Munich. Secret societies like the Thule and Vril became the ideological crucible for the nascent Nazi Party. They rejected mainstream science, searching instead for a mystical energy source, a limitless power called Vril. They believed in a hollow earth, in ancient Aryan super races, and in a physics based on esoteric revelation, not empirical evidence. This was not a fringe belief. It was a core principle for many of the men who would soon hold absolute power over Germany. As the Nazi state consolidated its power, this obsession with alternative science fused with German industrial might. The world would soon witness the results. The Reich unleashed a torrent of Wunderwaffen, wonder weapons, that nearly altered the course of the war. The V-2 rocket was the world's first ballistic missile, an autonomous weapon that could travel faster than sound and strike cities hundreds of miles away. The Messerschmitt Me 262 was the first operational jet-powered fighter, a machine so fast that Allied pilots in their propeller-driven planes could barely track it. The Ho 229 was a flying wing, a jet-powered bomber with a radar-resistant design not seen again until the American B-2 Spirit decades later. These weapons were real. They were terrifying. They proved German engineers were capable of unprecedented technological leaps under the immense pressure of total war. They established a terrifying precedent. If this was what the world knew about what was being built in secret, this is where documented history ends and a far darker legend begins. According to a cascade of post-war accounts, the Reich was developing circular anti-gravity aircraft. The program was codenamed Rundflugzeug, or round aircraft. The designs had names: the Haunebu series, the Vril discs. The specifications were chillingly precise. The Haunebu 2 was allegedly 26 meters in diameter, capable of reaching speeds over 6,000 kilometers per hour. It was armed with Panzer-grade cannon turrets and supposedly shielded by an invisible energy field called a Victalin layer. Later designs, like the Haunebu 3, were enormous craft, over 70 meters wide, designed for interstellar travel and capable of carrying a crew of 32. These were not interceptors. They were space vehicles. The power source was not a jet engine. It was an electromagnetic gravitic engine, a so-called Thule tachyonator, which allegedly manipulated gravitational fields. This was the Vril energy brought to life. Flight tests were said to have taken place over northwest Germany, resulting in the Foo Fighter sightings. Allied pilots had no framework to understand what they were seeing. The legend insists these were not prototypes, they were a fleet. Controlling all of these clandestine projects was a single terrifying figure, SS Obergruppenführer Hans Kammler. A doctor of engineering, Kammler was the personification of the Nazi state's fusion of intellectual brilliance and moral depravity. He was put in charge of constructing the death camps, including the gas chambers and crematoria at Auschwitz. His efficiency was so valued by Himmler that he was given control of the V-2 rocket program. By 1945, Kammler commanded a secret weapons empire. He controlled the Me 262 jet program, the Horten flying wing, and allegedly every anti-gravity project. He was the keeper of Germany's most vital secrets. In the final, chaotic days of the war, as the Reich collapsed, Hans Kammler vanished. He was one of the most powerful men in the SS, yet he was never captured, never tried, and his body was never found. He simply ceased to exist, taking all of his secrets with him. Among those secrets, one device stands out, a legend known only as Die Glocke, the bell. According to testimony from a captured SS officer, Die Glocke was the Reich's most important project, superior even to the atomic bomb. It was housed in a secure facility near the Wenceslas mine in Poland, under the direct command of Hans Kammler. The device was described as a heavy metallic bell, approximately 9 feet wide and 12 feet high. When activated, it consumed massive amounts of electrical power. It contained 2 counter-rotating cylinders filled with a violet mercury-like substance codenamed Zerum 525. The operational zone around the bell was lethal. The device was said to emit a strong bluish light and a low hum. During tests, it allegedly caused catastrophic biological effects. Scientists exposed to its field suffered nerve damage and the formation of a crystalline substance in their tissues. This led to a horrifying death. Plant and animal life within a 200-meter radius was destroyed, its organic structure broken down. As the Red Army advanced, Die Glocke was evacuated. Kammler allegedly loaded it onto a Junkers Ju 390 transport plane. He flew it out of Germany along with all of its research. Its destination remains unknown, and the conclusion seems inescapable. Kammler, the master of secret weapons. Die Glocke, the key to an unknown physics. The Haunebu craft, waiting for their ultimate power source. It is the perfect story. A brilliant, ruthless SS general escapes in the final moments of the war, taking a superweapon and a fleet of anti-gravity spacecraft to a secret redoubt. Perhaps to a base in the Antarctic territory of Neuschwabenland, or a sympathetic enclave in South America. From there, the Third Reich would survive, a hidden empire waiting to return. It is a story of technological horror, a last-minute escape, and a threat that never truly died. It is also a complete fabrication. There is not one single declassified Third Reich document that mentions the Haunebu, the Vril discs, or Die Glocke. There are no blueprints. There are no technical specifications from German archives. There are no verified photographs. The entire narrative was constructed after the war. The legend of Nazi UFOs first appeared in a series of sensationalist articles in the 1950s. These authors often had direct ties to neo-fascist and revisionist movements. They were not revealing a hidden history. They were creating a new mythology. They invented the names and specifications connecting them to the Vril Society to build a legend of a Third Reich that was not just militarily powerful, but technologically transcendent, a victim of fate, not a perpetrator of unimaginable crimes. The story of Die Glocke comes almost entirely from a 2000 book by a Polish author who based his account on anecdotal evidence and questionable interrogation transcripts. The reality is that Nazi science, for all its documented advances, was also a chaotic and contradictory enterprise. It was hobbled by infighting and the same mystical delusions that gave birth to the UFO myth itself. The story of the unidentified flying Nazis is not a history of technology. It is a case study in modern propaganda. It is a weaponized narrative. The myth endures because it touches a nerve of truth. The Nazi regime was monstrously ambitious. Hans Kammler was a real and terrifying figure who vanished without a trace. And through Operation Paperclip, the United States did bring over 1,600 German scientists to work on American military technology, obscuring the lines between victor and vanquished. The legend of a Nazi UFO provides a simple, dramatic explanation for complex post-war anxieties. But the truth is more disturbing. The real horror is not a secret fleet of flying saucers. It is that a modern, educated nation could willingly embrace an ideology rooted in occult fantasies. It then used its genuine scientific brilliance to perpetrate the most methodical and catastrophic genocide in human history. The myth of a technological escape hides the moral reality of a complete societal collapse.